Hey, happy Thursday, everybody, and welcome to another Chamber Check-In episode from Idaho's only five-star accredited chamber. Today, we have Board President of Valley County Pathways with us today, Steve Stubner, to talk about the organization. Hi, Steve.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Steve, thanks for carving out some time. I've known you for, I don't know, probably 30 years. And you have been a huge community steward for open space and Ridge to Rivers and that whole tourism arm of how we connect on recreation in this valley and leading up through McCall, and for that matter, the entire state of Idaho, through your books that you've written. And now I'm so glad that you're a part of this board for Valley County Pathways. And I'm so excited today to share a little bit about what that mission and vision is and help share what Valley County Pathways is all about. But first, for those that don't know, I'd love for you, Steve, to kind of give us a history of work and a little bit about your background here in the state of Idaho. Bring us back and move us on up to where we're at now.
You bet. Yeah, well, I came to Boise from Colorado Springs, Colorado in 1986 and went to work for the Idaho Statesman as an environmental reporter back when the Statesman was very robust and over 100 people working in the newsroom.
Yep.
And that was just my dream job at the time, and traveled the whole state, covered environmental issues, conservation, natural resources, just loved it. And then kind of my private side, private life, I've just always been a super avid outdoor person. Especially like on the fitness side, related to, hiking, backpacking, skiing, mountain biking, fishing, rafting, whitewater rafting, etc. And so I really started getting to know the trails around Boise after I moved here. And actually mountain bikes were invented about the same time. And I was like, wow, you can cover 3 times the amount of mileage on a mountain bike than you can on a hike in the same amount of time. And man, that just really resonated with me because I was already a really avid road cyclist. Like I rode bogus for fun, for workout, and routinely. And so anyway, several years later, I got involved in the Southwest Idaho Mountain Biking Association as the founding president in '92. And that kind of began my community service as a trail advocate. And then, back then it was more about mountain bike manners because there were a lot of trails getting closed around the West because mountain bikers were blowing hikers off the trail or runners or whatnot. And so everybody had to learn to get along and slow down and yield to each other. And we just had a great legacy of that in Boise because all that early education work we did then, and still an ongoing issue every day.
Yep.
But anyway, my career evolved into PR. I worked for Tamarack Resort in the 2000s. And that was really what opened my eyes to what was going on up in Long Valley and Valley County with respect to trails, and especially long distance trails.
Right.
And so I started looking at trail maps around the area, not only in the national forest, but in the valley floor. And I'm like, we have an opportunity here to do like a Wood River Trail or a Boise River Greenbelt, a trail of the Coeur d'Alenes. And I'm talking to my boss, Jean-Pierre Bosflug at the time. And I'm like, look at this. We have a chance to do this long distance trail. We've got to get going on this. And he said, sounds great. Go after it. So we formed a citizens committee to start looking at trails back in 2003. And then we actually formed Valley County Pathways in 2004. So that's kind of how it got started.
Okay. All right. Wow. There's so much more to that story. And I wish we had, 7 hours to talk about it, because sitting down and talking with you, Steve, is kind of like a history lesson and an inspiration lesson as well. And I just love the efforts that you've had to make Boise and the entire Treasure Valley a community of recreationalists. And we still have access to everything. And I love the future vision of the Valley County Pathways. I want to bring up an image to help share, as we can kind of go through that. But let me add this here. And I'll drill down a little bit, but why don't you take me through where we're at here? And this is the entire mission of Valley County Pathways, right? It's to tell us about the connectivity, and I'll kind of start from the top and we'll scroll down.
Sure. So, big picture, this was the overall map I was looking at when I first started really getting acquainted with the area. And then if you looked at Lake Cascade to the south, I was looking at the management plan from the Bureau of Reclamation for Cascade Lake, and they were calling for a trail around the whole lake. And I was just like, my eyes were popping out of my head, and I'm just like, really? Right. And the whole west side of that lake is in public ownership south of Tamarack Resort, either Bureau of Reclamation land or Forest Service land. So I was thinking, wow, there's some real potential, especially on that west side of the lake. And then the Crown Point Trail already existed in Cascade, going about 3 miles from the trailhead there to the north. And then it dead-ended at a temporary dead end there. Yep. And then we had an opportunity in the north in McCall area where there were the old railroad line, which had been abandoned in 1979, like had been used for the McCall sawmill and things like that. And then the railroad decided to phase out that line between McCall and Cascade. And someone named Judd DeBoer owned that property along the railroad line for about 3 or 4 miles going south of McCall. And Judd DeBoer, as many chamber members know, is just an institution up in McCall in terms of part owner of Brundage Mountain for 30 years or something like that with the Simplot family, and also a Boise businessman. And I had known Judd for a number of years, so I approached him about, hey, what do you think about some kind of public easement on this railroad line?
Yeah,
we'll handle the liability and that kind of thing, and that would put you off the hook for anything like that, and we could start developing trail going south from McCall through your property and the McCall Ranch. And he was all about it, and he said, "Yep. Let's drop the paperwork. Let's get that done." And we did. We opened the North Valley Trail. If you go up a little farther north on the map, great. The North Valley Trail is right there, and it goes south of McCall out to Heinrich Lane. And so that's a distance of 5 miles now.
Okay.
We also got a trail donation from Marvin Whiteman, who was a big-time Boise businessman with Whiteman Industries, and also developed the Payette River subdivision. And he saw the power of our valley-wide mission and donated land that he had along the rail line in that wow. North Valley Trail area to help us out. So anyway, we had 5 miles. We kind of built the bookends of the trail system, 5 miles in the north on the North Valley Trail, and then the Crown Point Trail from the south. And then since that time, we've been working on bringing things together valley-wide.
I love it. This big map here is the end goal, right? Is to connect Donnelly to Payette Lake, and I am imagining it's got to be a series of dirt and concrete and like green belt, like you were mentioning before. And you and I talked about this before. What is the what is the dollar amount, I guess? What's the ballpark figure to in the next 10 to 15 years to get this thing completely done?
Well, this map we're looking at is kind of our near-term and long-term plan, as you said.
Yes.
And we're probably looking at in excess of $5 million for build out. Our master plan, which has been endorsed by Valley County commissioners, envisions 70 miles of trails valley-wide. So we're trying to connect Cascade, Donnelly, Lake Fork, and McCall, all seamless, connect throughout the valley. And then at the same time, we want to have east-west trails like connecting over to Tamarack Resort, Jug Mountain Ranch, Lake Cascade State Park, Gold Fork Hot Springs, and over to New Meadows so you could connect to the Weiser River Trail. So really, trying to connect people to their communities and connect people to the amenities and the tourist amenities that they like to go to and visit. And so it's just been, it's been about 20 years since we started. And the hard part has been the old railroad line reverted to private property back in '79. So it would have been nice if we were already organized and working on it way back then. And so we've kind of had to go one landowner at a time, north-south, which takes a lot of time and a lot of visits. And then you find out really who's interested and who's not. And each time we've gone through to update our master plan with the county, we've also had public hearings and things like that. And then we hear more from people on both sides of that equation. But I'd say in general, up there in the valley, huge amount of support for trails. Can't ever develop enough trails for people around McCall.
Right.
Very much pro trail in McCall. As you go farther south in the valley, the support drops off to some extent around Donnelly, but we have a new trail project we're doing right there, building a trail next to the grass airfield in Donnelly.
Oh, yeah.
So we've already started on that project. And then closer to Cascade, it's harder to get support from some of the just some of the landowners that would really prefer to be left alone. They don't want the tourists to come, and that's just sort of something you have to respect. And we're almost like a land trust. We come to people, we share the vision, we help you'd like to help us, but it's certainly voluntary, and not all landowners are supportive. And so we keep plodding along.
There was a press release just recently about a landowner that supported it at about a quarter mile or a half a mile. Let me bring that map back up. Why don't you show us where that happened?
Yeah, that was down by Cascade.
Okay.
And this was an event last Saturday honoring the Putman family. So that would be right up here on the north end of the Crown Point Trail.
Okay, so up in here.
Right in here. A little bit south of the dotted line. There you go. Yeah.
Right in here somewhere.
Yeah. So back in 2006, Eleanor Putman was selling her cabin, their family cabin that had a piece of the railroad line, and she decided to donate hopefully, to help push momentum for other landowners to follow valley-wide. And then last Saturday, we finally got a bronze plaque mounted on a rock that had special meaning to the family. And we had a really nice ceremony next to the trail with Dave and Kate Putman, who are brother and sister and direct descendants from Eleanor. And so just took us quite a while to get all that done, but I'm super excited about doing that and giving them proper recognition, and hope others will take a cue that this is something that, this is just, we're trying to do things for our children, our grandchildren, generations beyond. And what kind of valley do we want to see for our grandchildren and future generations up there between Cascade and McCall and New Meadows. And I just think a long distance trail system just would be phenomenal for everyone. These trails in the valley are flat, they're easy, they should be close to home, easy for everyone to use. And so that's the whole idea, make them convenient. And we all know, if you live in Boise and you have access to the Boise River Greenbelt, what a treasure that is.
Yep.
Everyone knows the same in the Wood River Valley, Trail the Coeur d'Alenes. These are just absolute treasures. And I guess nobody really knows how hard it is in behind the scenes to pull these projects together. And they all have their story. But anyway, I'm just absolutely committed to this, and everyone on my board is as well. Valley County is our partner. They now have a Parks and Recreation department, which is a game changer for us. And we also have a rec planner on staff named Dave Bingaman, who's a super great guy, knows a lot about trail development and what it takes to get that done. So Dave and I have been working super close together on a bunch of projects, and really grateful for that.
That whole Simba team up there, Central Idaho Mountain Bike Association. I remember when I was living in McCall's, I was riding with that group and put a Pulaski in the ground on Goose Creek. And what a great group of people that are there for the long haul. Hey, Steve, what are some, you told us about some of the challenges, right? The opportunity to use the land to build the trails on, and then the cost, what it takes, right? Well, how can businesses help? This is the Chamber of Commerce, right? We've got almost 2,000 members, and this entire valley is driven by tourism. And besides food and ag, tourism is a huge overall economic driver. And how can businesses help, Steve?
Well, I guess, real candidly, we'd love to get some of the retired CEOs or existing CEOs from Boise Valley who have second homes up there and might be inspired about our vision and our plan for the valley to perhaps join our cause in terms of we're ready to launch a capital campaign to raise a minimum of $2 million to provide seed money for construction projects, maintenance funds for existing projects, and really to accelerate our construction schedule. We've got like 13 projects in the north half of the valley, generally between McCall, Lake Fork, and Donnelly, that we really want to get going on ASAP.
Right.
But if you're just limited to state grants, some federal grants, et cetera, it's going to take years to get all that done. And really, I'm thinking with all the growth happening up there and the pace of the growth, that we really have about 10 years to get this, to fulfill our vision. And so I'm really hoping to accelerate this in the next 10 years with some solid backing from smart business people like our Boise business folks, and get a core of those people involved who also know a lot of other people and work on a fundraising campaign. The other thing is we have a real big need for volunteer type things like the Donnelly Trail project we're trying to do right now. We're going to need like dump trucks to transport road mix to cap the trail, keep the weeds down, the ground squirrels down, things like that. So anyway, those don't come cheap. No. So anyway, I'd love to reach out for some help that way. Okay. Also would love to have any tax deductible donations from anybody who's captivated by our idea as well. And or people just intrigued working on it, like to help. Those kinds of things, all of the above, love to have help with those things.
Awesome. And Steve, I have the valleycountypathways.org website scrolling through the bottom of the screen right now for more information. I found out a lot of information by just checking out the website, and you sent me the master plan, kind of all the talking points on there on the schedule by 2028. And I would love for people who are interested and looking deeper and connecting with Steve and his board to help in any way we can. You know, Steve, I've been a cyclist for many years. This whole time I've been in Boise, and I've always enjoyed the Ponderosa State Park trail system, and then the Bear Basin trail system, and now what's going on at Brundage. And we've always had the race series up at Brundage, and I love the vision and mission of connecting Cascade into McCall. And like you said, hey, it's getting our population increase, and they're finding the little sweet spots in Idaho to come to. And what a great way to recreate in Valley County.
Right on. Yeah, it's just it's huge. And have you ridden that new trail from Brundage to Bear Basin yet?
Yes, I have. It's spectacular. You know, I used to do it before there was a trail, and it was a lot.
Well, good for you. Yeah, I rode it. I think I rode it in early July, right when Bluebird Express broke down. So I had to climb the mountain first, but I was happy to do that to enjoy that new trail. Boy, it turned out nice.
Well, and you have a short window of building trails, you know, because it's, you know, you got winter or I don't know how many months, 6 months this year. So that's even another tight issue to think about. But Steve, is there anything else while I have you that you'd like to educate the public on?
Not really, I don't think, but just remind people we do have a donate tab on our website that's right on the front page. And if you're intrigued by this and want to know more, please contact me. My email's there on the site, and I'm just more than happy to visit with anybody about it. Awesome,
Steve. Well, hey, thank you so much for your investment in the Chamber with Valley County Pathways. Thank you for all you've done in this area and connecting people to places they want to be. It's huge, and the impact you've made is just remarkable. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.